Assalamualaikum everyone, welcome back to this channel. This is me Alia Wahid and you are on the channel of Medicare. So as you know that we have started the lectures of pharmacy third prof and we are covering every subject of it, and we have discussed some videos of the other subject like the pharmaceutical analysis. I have uploaded the video of introduction of it. I have done the lecture of chromatography and the TLC on it, and also I have uploaded the lecture of introduction of pathology. So if you are interested in this video, please go and check my channel, and please see these videos, and it will be really helpful for you. So for now we are going to start a new subject, which is the pharmacology 2, and we are going to start our chapter number 28, which is from the name of the principle of antimicrobial therapy from the Lippincott book. So I hope that this lecture will find you very helpful. And if you find it helpful, then please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that you can get the notification of all the further future videos that I will upload. So thank you so much. So let's start our lecture. So we start our lecture with the Bismillah Rahman Rahim. So by starting this chapter, I am going to start it with the chemotherapy, what it is. I am going to give the short introduction of it, and then we will start our antimicrobial agents. Okay, so this is the exactly same as written in the Lippincott, but I have make the different kind of flow charts and different kind of easy words I use so that you can easily understand here. So, what is chemotherapy? Chemo means chemicals and therapy means treatment. So, we are going to treat a cancerous disease by the use of different kind of chemicals. So, here the definition of chemotherapy is that to use the chemical agents which can be synthetic or the natural. Okay, so you are using some chemicals. They can be synthetic or can be natural one, and they have the selectivity toxicity for the infectious cells which caused by the microbes and the malignant tumor without causing harm to any living cells or tissues. Now I am going to make this definition easy for all of you. Okay, so we have studied that chemo word means chemicals, and the word therapy means what it is? Yes, treatment. Very good. So now we are using some chemical agents to treat a specific disease. These chemical agents could be natural from the natural sources or could be synthetic. Okay, and we are using both of them to treat a specific disease. Okay, so they have these kind of chemicals. These chemicals have specific toxic effects, but it has some toxic effects for those cancerous cells or for the tumors, and both of these things are caused by microbes. Okay, so these chemicals have toxicity for these cells which caused by microbes, and they have no toxic effects for our living cells. So these kind of chemicals will not disturb our natural living cells. Our living cells, these toxic effects cannot harm our living cell, they will remain same. So this was the concept of chemotherapy. I hope that you understand it. I hope that you understand the meaning which are used in the definition. Okay, so now I think that you understand this definition very well. That the chemotherapy is the use of chemical agents, these chemicals, which could be synthetic or natural. Okay, and they have selective toxicity. They have selective toxicity for what? Cancerous cells and the for tumors. These both of them are caused by some microorganisms, and without causing harmful effect to our living cells or the living tissue. They have no toxic effects on them. Only they are toxic or for the cancerous cells and the tumors and for the microbes. The second definition of the chemotherapy is that the use of chemical substances and drugs to treat the disease by targeting or eliminating the harmful cells. So we are using some chemical substances or can drugs to treat a specific disease by eliminating the harmful cells, the cancerous cells, the tumor cells, the microbial cells, and destroy them, and then we treat a specific disease. Now, here is the classification of chemotherapy, which is we divide the chemotherapy is used to treat the cancer and chemotherapy in the infectious disease. Always, whenever we use a word of chemotherapy, we think that it only used for the cancerous treatment, but it's not right. Chemotherapy can be given when a person has an infectious disease. So when a person has the cancer treatment, we give chemotherapy, we give chemotherapeutic drugs to him so that they can destroy or inhibit those kind of cancerous cells. And their types are like cytotoxic agents. Cytotoxic agents kill the cancerous cells, while the second one is the targeted therapies in which they inhibit the growth of the cancerous cells. They are not killing those kind of cells, they are just inhibiting their growth. Second is the hormonal therapy in which we block specific kind of hormones which are responsible for causing the cancer. Similarly, when we give chemotherapy in case of infectious disease, our main purpose is to destroy or kill that kind of particular pathogen, that kind of allergen, that kind of irritant, that kind of toxin to treat our infectious disease. So we give antimicrobial therapy to that patient to treat that particular infection. On the next page we will discuss the antimicrobial therapy that used in under the chemotherapy. So now you understand that why we are using the word antimicrobial in the chapter of chemotherapy, because chemotherapy also used when a person has an infectious disease, and to treat that infection we give the patient antimicrobial therapy. So this is the major confusion that a lot of students don't focus on it. They just mimic all the lines written in the Lippincott book, and they don't get the concept of it, that if a particular word is written, then why it is written. If a word of antimicrobial therapy is written in the chapter of chemotherapy, then why it is written here, what is the link between it? Because every time we think that they are the different terms. Antimicrobial is the different term, infectious disease or chemotherapy is a different term, but how they are related now I think you understand about it. And still if you have some kind of confusion, then you definitely leave a comment for me in the comment section, and I will give answer to you. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and also press the bell icon. So now we start the further our further remaining chapter. Okay, so now we are going to start the detail of antimicrobial agents, and in your Lippincott book, these things are given here. So, antimicrobial agents, they are the specialized chemotherapeutic drugs designed to target the specific microbe responsible for the infection. So you are using some chemo drugs which are specialized, not the normal chemotherapeutic drug. Some specialized chemotherapeutic drugs, उनको कुछ इस तरह से डिज़ाइन किया जाता है कि वो स्पेसिफिक माइक्रोब और स्पेसिफिक इन्फेक्शन को ख़त्म करने में मदद देती है। यू गेट दैट पॉइंट, कि हमारी कीमो ही ड्रग्स हैं, लेकिन वो कुछ इस तरह की स्पेशलाइज हैं कि वो उस इन्फेक्शन को, उस पैथोजन को मारने की सलाहियत रखती हैं। इसलिए हमने उन्हें एंटी माइक्रोबियल भी कहा है और हम इन्हें कीमोथेरेपिक ड्रग्स भी कह सकते हैं। ठीक है ना। सो कीमोथेरेपिक ड्रग्स क्या क्या कर रही हैं, मैं अब आपको यहाँ से समझाती हूँ। ओके, सो आई एम टेलिंग यू दैट वी हैव द कीमो ड्रग्स, कीमो thera therapeutic drug. They are doing what? First, they are killing our cancerous cells. Yes, am I right? Yes. They are killing tumors, whether it is malignant, whether it is benign, whatever it is killing them. And secondly, it also kills some pathogens. Okay, if it kills the cancer, if it kills the tumor, we call it chemo drugs. If it kills the pathogen, then we can call it as the antimicrobial, because pathogen is a microbe. Yes, I can call a pathogen a microbe. Yes, very good. So whenever a pathogen, a microbe die, this drug is called antimicrobial drug. So that's why a chemo drug which can kill the pathogen or a microbe, I can call that specific drug a antimicrobial drug. Am I right or not? Yes, very good. Now I think you understand that why we are using these kind of things in it, and all the concepts will be clear in your mind. Am I right? If I give the example of that kind of antimicrobial drug which kill the pathogen or microbe, yes, I can give the example of it. Like the drug which is linezolid. This example is given in your Lippincott book. This is an antimicrobial drug, and it kills a specific bacteria. Bacteria is a microbe, is a pathogen. So it kills the bacteria whose name is Staphylococcus aureus. Okay, so this is an antimicrobial drug and it is a chemo drug. Okay, and it is killing it, and it has a bacteriostatic effect because it inhibit the growth of that bacteria. Okay, so this is not a bactericidal drug. It is inhibiting the growth, so therefore it is bacteriostatic drug. Some bacterial cider drugs are given here. So in this chapter, in this video, we also discuss the difference between the bacteriostatic and the bacterial cider. Okay, so this was the main concept that I want to tell you and to clear the concepts in your mind. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so the next thing that discuss in your book is the steps in selecting an antimicrobial agent. Okay, when we are going to select an antimicrobial agent, what we can select? In the world, thousands of antimicrobial drugs are discovered, are produced. So how we can select that for that patient? This microbial drug is good. So before selecting it, you have to, let's assume in your mind that before you a patient came who want antimicrobial drug, who has specific kind of infection, and we have to kill that particular microbe in it. So what step we do to give him a particular antimicrobial agent? First we have to select what kind of antimicrobial drug should be given to that patient. Okay, we cannot give every kind of antimicrobial to every patient. Okay, we have to study the patient history. We have to keep in front the patient condition, and then we have to select that antimicrobial drug. So here I have written some steps by which you can follow and you can select your antimicrobial drug. First step is to identify the infection causing organism, because every kind of infection is caused by a microbe, by a organism. So how you have to identify that organism, that whether it is a bacteria, whether it is a virus, whether it is a fungi, a algae, a protozoa, a parasite, what it is, you have to detect it, what the specific organism it is. Like if I give you the example in the case of corona, when thousands of patients are dying from corona. So the first thing that the scientists do is to investigate, is to diagnose that organism which is causing that disease. So they have found that there is a virus which is called as coronavirus or covid-19, and this virus is responsible for this disease. So that's why. And how they identify the coronavirus? By these methods. We can identify our organism by two methods mainly. First is making a microbial culture. Second is molecular techniques. We apply some molecular techniques. We can do molecular microbiological cultures to detect that organism. We do the culture of blood, urine, CSF, pleural fluid, peritoneal fluid, and synovial fluids. So, if we want to detect that organism, this organism can be present in our blood, could be present in our urine, could be present in our brain fluid, could be present in every fluid around our organs, can be in the pleural fluid around our lungs, can be in peritoneal fluid which is around our abdomen. So in every these kind of fluids, these kind of microorganism can present. So we have to take the samples. We take the blood sample, we take the urine sample, the CSF, peritoneal, or these kind of samples we take, and we make the cultures. We make the nutrient target cultures, and then after making these cultures, in the second prof you have discussed in the practicals of microbiology that how to make a culture, how to make growth media. Am I right or not? Yes. So we have make a lot of cultures there. Similarly, you have to make the cultures of them, and then after that you will observe it under the microscope, and then you find what is the nature of that organism, what is the structure of it, what is the properties of it. Then you have to study about it. Okay. So, okay, some molecular techniques that you can perform with the PCR, which is the polymerase chain reaction. You can perform matrix assisted laser desorption ionization time of light, which is MALDITOF. M say matrix, A say assisted, L say laser, D say desorption, I say ionization, T say time of, and F say flight. Okay, so this is a technique by which you can identify that particular organism. Okay, so the next step you can follow is to start the empiric antimicrobial therapy. So this is a therapy name. What it is, I explain it. Okay, so ideally, the antimicrobial agent given to the patient after checking the organism nature and its sustainability. ठीक है, आई कैन एक्सप्लेन इन इट इन उर्दू. सो आइडली यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा होता है कि एंटी माइक्रोबियल एजेंट्स हम पेशेंट में देते हैं ऑर्गेनिज्म की नेचर चेक करने के बाद, यानी हम लैब कल्चर्स में ग्रोथ मीडिया बनाने के बाद. बट ग्रोथ मीडिया को बनते बनते 48 आवर्स लग जाते हैं, 24 आवर्स लग जाते हैं. आप उतनी देर अपने पेशेंट को बिठाए रखेंगे, आप उसे कहेंगे कि इंतज़ार करें, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है. ठीक है, क्योंकि कुछ पेशेंट्स की कंडीशन इस तरह से होती है, उन्हें इस तरह की डिजीज़ होती हैं कि वो उनके लिए फैटल हो जाता है अगर आप प्रोलॉन्ग कर देते हैं. तो इसलिए हमें उन्हें फ़ौरन देना होता है, क्योंकि कीमो का पेशेंट है और कीमो के पेशेंट में आप देर नहीं कर सकते हैं. इसलिए कुछ पेशेंट में डिले अगर हम करें तो वो फैटल हो सकता है, पेशेंट के लिए जानलेवा भी हो सकता है. इसलिए हम इमिडिएटली तौर पे एक एम्पिरिक थेरेपी स्टार्ट करवाते हैं. एम्पिरिक थेरेपी क्या है कि हमने माइक्रोब को स्टडी नहीं किया, हमने उसकी नेचर को नहीं देखा, बस एक एम्पिरिक थेरेपी फटाफट से शुरू कर दी ताकि पेशेंट की जान बची रहे. ठीक है, वो माइक्रोब पेशेंट को मार ना डाले, इसलिए उसकी जान बची रहे, इसलिए हम एक एम्पिरिक थेरेपी स्टार्ट कर देते हैं. अब किस तरह के ऐसे पेशेंट हैं जिनमें ये चीज़ होती है? जैसे पहला पेशेंट है न्यूट्रोपेनिक पेशेंट. ये उस तरह के पेशेंट्स होते हैं जिनके अंदर न्यूट्रोफिल्स के लेवल बहुत कम होते हैं और इनके अंदर इन्फेक्शन का रिस्क बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. आपको पता है कि न्यूट्रोफिल्स हमारे इस तरह के ब्लड सेल्स हैं जो हमें इन्फेक्शन से बचाते हैं. जब भी कोई इन्फेक्शन कॉजिंग एजेंट या कोई पैथोजन एंटर होता है, सो दे फाइट फॉर अस. And if in a patient its level decreases, then the risk of infection increase. So now these kind of patient, they are on very emergency situation and you have to start the empiric therapy in them. Similarly, the patient of meningitis. What is meningitis? It is the inflammation in the membrane covered by the brain and spinal cord. On the brain and on the spinal cord, there is a membrane which is called as meninges. And if the inflammation occur in the meninges, it is called as meningitis. So these kind of patients, they have are on the very emergency situation, and you have to start the empiric therapy in them. So what kind of empiric therapy drugs that you can give? So whenever you have to start the empiric therapy, you should have to find any kind of antimicrobial drug who has the broad spectrum therapy. What is mean by broad spectrum therapy? Mean those kind of antimicrobial agents which which have a tendency to kill all the types of bacteria, whether it is gram positive, whether it is gram negative, whether it is, a acidic bacteria or basic bacteria, whether it is how much type of bacteria it is. These kind of therapies, these kind of broad spectrum antibody have the capability to destroy every kind of bacteria, so you can give it so that a patient can be treated out. Similarly, though examples of broad spectrum therapy are given here, like the spalosporin, vancomycin, azithromycin. So these are the types of some antimicrobial drug that have very broad spectrum and they can kill any bacteria. Similarly, now after starting the empiric therapy, or after diagnosing the particular organism, you have to determine antimicrobial sustainability. Sustainability is to check whether what kind of antimicrobial agent has such effectiveness to kill a microbe rapidly. Okay, so we check every microbial drug to check whether they can destroy this organism or not. So now I explain these words at that side. For example, I have make a culture. This is a microbial culture plate, and these are some kind of microorganisms that I have found in the blood sample of that organism. So this is the culture, and these are the organisms that are present in it. Now, what I can do, I have to check the sustainability. So these are the microbial drugs. I am making this medicine. Okay, this is the first antibiotic drug. This is the second one. I am changing their shape so that you can easily identify. This is the third one. Okay. Sorry, not making the line inside it. Okay, so this is the third one in the round shape, and this will be the fourth one. Okay, so I have take these four antibiotic drugs. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. They have different names, and I think that these four drugs can have the ability to destroy this organism. Okay, so now I have to give one of them to the patient, and I cannot give four of them to the patient. I have to give the one. So I have to check which one is more effective, whether this is more effective or this is more effective, this or this. I have to check it which one will do the best one. So I have to make the agar plates. I transfer these organisms into different plates. Like this plate, I have put one microorganism. In this plate, I have put the other one. In this plate, I have put other one, and in this plate I have put the other one. So I have take the four plates, one organism in them. Okay, from this plate I have took these microorganisms. Now I have to check the sustainability. In this plate I have put this antibiotic. So how I will put, I will take the micro discs. On this micro discs I will apply this antibiotic. I will make the powder of it. I will convert it into the fine powder, and then I will take this powder and put it into the micro disc. So this is micro disc containing this powder, and then I will see that this drug can destroy this organism or not. Similarly, I perform the whole experiment with these four drugs, and then I will check the sustainability. Okay, and then I will see the zone of inhibition. Like I will see that how much organism is destroyed. Like this, and I assume that this antibiotic has no ability to destroy this organism, the organism remain intact. So it means this antibiotic is not efficient. Then I see it, that zone of inhibition happens or not, and I see that this is a microdisc containing the antibiotic, and I see it destroy the organism till this area, and after that area some microorganisms are present, and this microorganism is destroyed. Okay, so this is thing is happens, it means this antibiotic has the ability to destroy it. Then I will see this drug, and I have seen that it has destroyed this organism. This is a microplate, and its zone of inhibition is greater than it, like it destroy this area. Only small number of microorganisms are available here. So it's mean this is more effective than this drug. Yes. Now I see this drug. It has more, even more, sustainability to destroy. It destroy the whole plate microorganism. It means this drug is most efficient for this organism, and I will pick this drug, and I will give this to my patient. This is the way I have checked that this antimicrobial agent have sustainability or not. So I'm just giving you the concept that you can clarify what is the concept behind it, and what is the thing I want to explain you. So I have made this along so that you can understand, because I need that you should have the clearance of every concept and every point. Nothing will remain confused in your mind. So this is why I have read right here to see the zone of inhibition. The drug which have more zone of inhibition have more sustainability, and our last drug has the more sustainability. So sustainability can be determined by bactericidal concentration, the MIC and the MBC. What are them? We discuss on the next page. Okay, here it is written the bactericidal and bacteria static or cidal difference. The bacteriostatic is that the one which inhibit the growth or the replication. Example is linezolid, which is against the staphylococcus. I have give this example in the front, in the starting of that lecture. And bactericidal, they have ability to kill the 99% of the bacteria. In vitro killing is greater with the bactericidal drug, and it has very greater effect with the staphylococcus pneumoniae, and the both of one have the same efficacy. Whether it is bacteriostatic or bactericidal, their efficacy is same. So now what is minimum inhibitory concentration, which is MIC, or minimum bactericidal concentration, MBC. So minimum है, so it is the lowest concentration of what antimicrobial agent that inhibitory है, तो inhibit what growth of microorganism. ठीक है, lowest concentration of antimicrobial drug that have ability to inhibit the growth of microbe. So this is the minimum, the lowest concentration of what antimicrobial agent that bactericidal, that kills, not inhibit, that kills the 99% of bacterial population. So these are very basic and very useful definitions which could be asked in the viva. So you have to make the concept of it. So now how we measure the MIC or MBC. So this is given in the picture in your Lippin cord. They have containing some tubes where different concentration of antibiotics is given here. So now I explain this in with the book. Okay, so now this is the chapter that we are studying from the Lippin core. We have studied it. After seeing my video lecture, when you study all of this, you will find that I have cleared every concept to you. So now we are on this diagram. Okay, so now I have zoomed it out so that you can clearly see it. So we have take some tubes in which I have put antimicrobial agents in it in different concentration, like the numbers represented on it, like zero point 0.5, so it has 0.5 concentration of antibiotics. So this is the lowest concentration. Then I gradually increase the concentration till it this is the highest concentration of antibiotic. Now what I have do, I have to see the growth of microorganism after 24 hours of inhibition. I have put the microorganism in it and I have incubated for 24 hours. Then I see the growth. So I see the bacteria growth happened in the low concentration antimicrobial tube, while these tubes have no growth of bacteria because they have the high concentration of microbial drug. So these two have no. So it's mean the MIC is the two tube which containing the two concentration of antibiotic, because this is the lowest concentration at which we have inhibit the growth of bacteria. Similarly here we have see that 32 is the MBC. This is the lowest concentration at which we have killed the 99% of the bacteria, not the 100%, because at 64 the 100% of bacteria are killed. So that's why we took the 32, where 99.9% of bacteria are real. Only 1% or less than 1% of bacteria remains in this tube. So this is the MBC and this is the MIC. So this is the concept that I want to clear in your mind. Okay, so after this we study effects of site of infection on the therapy. So it happens when the drug penetration. Okay, it depends upon the capillary structure like BBB, which is the blood brain barrier. Through this capillary structure, because it is the very dense capillary structure in which they are very tight junctions, and only lipid soluble, low molecular weight, low protein binded drugs can pass through the active transport. So that's why if the site of infection depends, like whether the antimicrobial drug can transfer to the active site or the infection site or not. Then the patient factor, some patients are immunocompromised. We have to give broad spectrum or some combination therapy to them because their immune system is so much compromised. Some renal dysfunction, whose kidney is not working, so their drug can accumulate. So we have to choose particular kind of antimicrobial so that drug should not be accumulate. It should be removed through the other route, like the fecal route or the other route. Similarly, hepatic dysfunction patient whose liver is not working right, so erythromycin is a drug that cannot be given to the patient who have the liver failure, because erythromycin has the serious effect on the liver. Similarly, poor pollination is occurring when the circulation is low. For example, the diabetic patient, their circulation is very low. Age. Similarly, the child whose age is very low, we cannot give tetracycline or curins to them. Similarly, a pregnant and lactation patient cannot be given tetracycline because it has harmful effects on them. Similarly, the safety of patient like the penicillin is the least toxic among all the antimicrobial, and the cost of therapy should be very low. The drug should be very cheap because the patient have to take that antimicrobial drug for 5 to 10 days. So we have to check whether the patient condition is enough to financially support them, and it can take that antimicrobial drug. We cannot the ask the patient to buy a very highly expensive antimicrobial. We have to see their condition, and after that we give that particular antimicrobial drug to them. Similarly, we have to determine the route of administration. The oral route for the antibiotic is should be followed when we have the mild infection, but when we have serious infection, we have to give the IV. But unfortunately, in Pakistan, whether the patient have mild infection or the serious infection, they give the IV to the patient. They directly give the injection of antimicrobial drug to the patient, which is not right practically. For the mild infection, you have to give the oral route, you have to give the oral antibiotic drug to that patient. But this is happening in the Pakistan. So what are the post antibiotic effects which can be represented by PAE? These are the those kind of effects that remain persistent suppression of microbial growth after the antibiotic is eliminated out of the body. So sometimes such kind of drugs are given to the patient whenever they even they are eliminated out of the body, they have the effects inside your body. They have the effect to suppress the microbial growth inside your body. So this is called the post antibiotic effect. Post mean uh, after the antibiotic effect. The antibiotic is eliminated out, but still it has some effects to inhibit the growth of microbe. So the drugs having more post-biotic effects are like aminoglycoside or fluoroquinins. They should be given one dose per day because they have the post effects, so they can provide the patient for a whole day microbial free effects. Next is the chemotherapy spectra like narrow spectrum drugs, extended spectra antimicrobial drug, or the broad spectrum. So narrow spectrum they inhibit the specific pathogen. Not every pathogen they have the specificity in them like isosonide. They only kills the micro tuberculin, which is the bacteria causing the TB. Similarly, extended antimicrobes are those who has effectiveness against the gram positive, but it can destroy some gram negative, like the amicillin, which can destroy gram positive, and some gram negative can be destroyed by it. Narrow spectrum only kill one bacteria, only one specific, but they can kill gram positive, but some of gram negative they also kill. Broad spectrum can kill every kind of bacteria, like the drugs are like tetracycline and fluoroquinones, they are given. Synergistic antibody, when the two antibodies work together, when we give the combined therapy of two antibodies like the beta lactamin and the glycoside, these are the two antibodies we give them, and we give them so that we can enhance the antimicrobial effects. Similarly, next is the disadvantage of synergism. If we do the synergism of antibiotics, some effects can be occur like the if we give one bacteriostatic drug, other is the bactericidal drug. So bacteriostatic is the tetracycline and bactericidal is the penicillin or cephalosporin. So we see that our bacteriostatic drug, which is the tetracycline, can interfere with the penicillin or cephalosporin. So this is the disadvantage that sometimes both of these drugs can interfere with each other, can destroy each other and interfere with them. So that's why the synergism is not always advantageous in every case. We have to see what kind of disadvantages or the side effects can occur. So that's why tetracycline is not given in the combination with the penicillin and cephalosporin. Yes, drug resistance occurred. This is very, very, very important concept in the antimicrobial therapy. We have seen that whenever a patient taken the antibiotic for a long time, the bacteria develop the resistance against that drug, and they are not killed by this drug. So most of the gram negative drugs do that. They give the resistance against the vancomycin. Reason क्या why this resistance is occurring? Actually, some kind of genetic alteration occur in this bacteria, some kind of alteration occur in the target site, some something occur that like decrease the penetration of drug, that it not penetrate and not causing if killing of the microbe. Similarly, increase the efflux of drug, removing out of the drug, increase the antibiotic inactivating enzyme. So, one enzyme which can inactivate the antibiotic, they are increased and the antibiotic is destroyed. Like the vancomycin will destroy due to gram negative bacteria. Modification in target site हम कर सकते हैं like the Staphylococcus pneumoniae. It has resistance against the beta lactamal antibiotic. So they have given you the example like which bacteria is resistant to this antibiotic, so you have to remember it. Like the most of gram negative have the resistance with the vancomycin, and the staphylococcus pneumoniae have the resistance against the beta lactamal. So decrease the elimination, accumulation, decrease the uptake, and increase the efflux of antibiotics. So we can decrease the accumulation of that antibiotic. Whenever the antibiotic accumulate, the drug resistance can occur. Similarly, enzymatic inactivation like the beta lactamase or pancrease, They have ability to inactivate the beta lactamal ring of penicillin and sporins. Similarly, acetyl transferase, this is an enzyme which can transfer acetyl group to antibiotic and destroy it or inactivate it. Similarly, esterases are present which can destroy the lactons rings of macrolide. Macrolide is a type of antimicrobial drug. So this was whole our lecture in which we have discussed everything. Some points remaining through the our book. We can discuss this through the book. We have discussed whole this thing, and I hope that you have understand it. We have discussed that. We have discussed the patient factors and some factors affecting the penetration. We have see the perfusion, age, pregnancy, lactation, and risk factors, safety agent, and cost of the therapy. We have discussed it. We have discussed the effect of route administration, the rational dosing. We have discussed spectra, narrow spectrum, extended spectrum, and the broad spectrum. We have discussed combination of antimicrobial. I have discussed it here. Resistance. I have discussed prophylactic use of the antibiotic is that contain clinical situations such as dental procedures and surgeries requires the use of antibiotics prevention rather than treatment of infection. ठीक है. So डेंटल प्रोसीजर्स में और आपको सर्जरीज में प्रोफाइलेक्टिव यूज़ करना पड़ता है एंटीबायोटिक्स का. Because of the indiscriminate use of the antibiotic can result in bacterial resistance and superficial infection. So these are the side effects of prophylactic use of antibiotic. Prophylactic use is restricted to clinical situation in which the benefits outweighs the potential risks. Duration of prophylaxis should be closely controlled to prevent the unnecessary development of resistance. Then this is the complication with the antimicrobial therapy that the patient can have hypersensitivity, can have direct toxicity because high serum levels of contained antibiotic cause the toxicity, directly affecting the cellular process. For example, aminoglycoside. This is antibiotic cause otosity, interfering the membrane of auditory hair cell. So the patient cannot hear properly due to this antibiotic when he use it in high levels. So toxicity can occur. Similarly, chloramphenicol have toxic effect on the mitochondria and can cause bone marrow suppression. Fluoroquinones have directly effect on the cartilage and tendons, and the tetracycline has directly effect on the bones. So that's why we are not giving it to the child. And fluoroquinones. A number of antibiotics cause the photosensitivity. Also, they are the toxic effects of them. Superficial infection can occur when the drug therapy, particularly with the broad spectrum antibiotic, can lead to alteration in the normal microflora. We have the micro normal flora in our upper respiratory tract, in our oral, in our intestine, our GIT tract. So these broad spectrum can kill the beneficial microbe present in our gut. That's why they can cause superficial infection because these microbes protect our GIT tract, protect our oral, intestinal, or upper respiratory tract, so they can cause upper super infections. Okay. So after that, site of microbial action, where it is occurring, this will discuss in the next chapter, where we start the classification of it. So here our chapters ends. I hope that you understand this lecture. If you find this video helpful, the video is so long because the chapter was the long, but I hope that you like this video. If you like it, then please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and also press the bell icon so that you can get the notification of all the videos which I have uploaded. Thank you so much once again for subscribing me and keep in touch in with me. So meet you soon in the next lecture with the next topic. Till up, Allah Hafiz. Remember me in prayers.